When Daniel first said he loved me, I believed every word. We met on a rainy Tuesday. He spilled coffee on my sketchbook. Instead of apologizing and leaving, he stayed. We talked for 3 hours. He asked about my dreams of becoming a fashion designer. He didn't laugh, he didn't doubt. He said, "You will," like it was already decided. 2 weeks later, we were dating. He called me every night, brought me flowers, posted pictures of us everywhere. 3 months in, he said the words while we walked through the park. "I love you." I said it back immediately. I meant it with everything I had. He made me feel seen, special, like I was enough exactly as I was. But that feeling wouldn't last long. Daniel came from serious money. His father owned luxury hotels. His mother sat on charity boards wearing pearls like armor. I knew this, but it never bothered me. He never made me feel small because of it. He ate my cheap pasta like it was gourmet. He said, "I don't care about money, I care about you." 6 months in, he invited me to meet his family. I was terrified but excited. I spent days choosing the right outfit. I found a black dress at a thrift store and tailored it myself. Did my hair 3 times. Daniel picked me up and smiled. "You look perfect." I held onto those words. I had no idea what was coming. His family's house was massive, white columns, manicured gardens. My stomach tightened as we pulled up. Daniel squeezed my hand. "They're going to love you." But the moment we walked through that door, I saw it, the look. His mother stood in the foyer, tall and cold. She looked at me like I was dirt on her expensive rug. His father barely glanced up from his phone. His sister looked me up and down with pure disgust. "You must be the girl Daniel's been seeing," his mother said. "Not my name, just the girl." I extended my hand. "I'm Emma." She shook it like touching me might leave a stain. Dinner was a nightmare. They talked around me, never to me, discussed people I didn't know, places I'd never been, investments I couldn't understand. Daniel tried to include me, but they'd just shift the conversation again. Then his mother finally spoke to me directly. "So Emma, Daniel tells us you." "So?" The way she said it made it sound pathetic, like a child's hobby. "Yes," I said, keeping my voice steady. "I design custom dresses. I'm building my own brand." She smiled without warmth. "How charming. Hobbies are important." Hobbies, the word hit like a slap. His sister leaned in. "Do you sell them online or something?" "Yes, I have a small shop." She glanced at her mother. "That's sweet, sweet." Another insult wrapped in politeness. Then his father spoke. "What do your parents do?" I hesitated. "My mom works at a grocery store. My dad passed away when I was young." Complete silence. His mother set down her fork carefully. "I see. That dinner told me everything. I wasn't their kind, I never would be." Everything changed after that night. Daniel still called, but the calls got shorter. We still went out, but something was different. He was distant, distracted. 2 weeks later, we sat in his car after a movie. The tension was suffocating. "Is everything okay?" I asked. He stared out the windshield, tapping his fingers. "My family doesn't think we're a good match." The words felt like a punch. "What do you mean?" "They think we come from different worlds. They're worried about the future, about what people will think." My chest tightened. "And what do you think?" He looked at me then. I saw something I'd never seen before, doubt. "I don't know," he said quietly. That honesty destroyed me. Over the next month, I watched him pull away piece by piece. He started comparing me to other women, girls from wealthy families. Sarah just got promoted at her father's firm. Julia's family has a house in the Hamptons. Each comment was a reminder of what I wasn't, of what I'd never be. The final blow came on a cold November night. We were supposed to attend his company's charity gala. I'd spent weeks making the perfect dress, emerald green silk. I felt beautiful in it. Then 2 hours before the event, Daniel called. "I don't think you should come tonight." My heart stopped. "What? Why?" "It's complicated. There'll be important people there, business contacts, family friends. And," he sighed, "I don't think it's the right environment for you." The truth crashed down. He was ashamed of me. "Daniel, what are you really saying?" Long silence. "Maybe we need to think about whether this makes sense long term. Because of your family. Because of everything. Our lives are different, Emma." "Say it," I whispered. "Say what you really mean." Another pause, then quietly, "You're not good enough for my family." Those words hung in the air, final, cruel, true. I should have screamed, should have cried, should have begged. Instead, something inside me went cold and still. "Okay," I said. "Emma, no, it's okay, I understand, thank you for being honest. We can still. There's nothing to talk about, you've made yourself clear." I hung up. I sat on my bed in that green dress for a long time, just staring. The dress I'd made with such hope now felt like a costume. Then I stood up, walked to my mirror. Looked at myself. I wasn't crying. My hands weren't shaking. I felt something unexpected. Clarity. Daniel had shown me exactly who he was, a man who valued approval over love, a man who would choose comfort over courage. I took off the dress carefully, hung it in my closet. Then I made a decision. I wouldn't beg him to see my worth. I wouldn't try to prove myself to his family. I would simply become undeniable. The next morning, I woke up with purpose. I'd been selling dresses online for 2 years, making barely enough for rent. I had talent but no visibility, no resources, no connections like Daniel was born with, but I had something they didn't. Hunger. I opened my laptop and started researching. How do small brands go viral? Who are the influencers who can change everything? I studied for days, weeks. I learned about algorithms, about storytelling, about brand identity. Success wasn't just talent, it was strategy. I took every penny I'd saved and invested it. Better materials, better equipment, a better camera. I taught myself video editing at midnight. I stopped going out, stopped dating, stopped doing anything that didn't move me forward. My apartment became a factory, fabric everywhere, sketches on every wall, my sewing machine running constantly. Friends asked if I was okay. I said I was better than okay. I was focused. I was building something they couldn't see yet. 3 months after Daniel ended things, I posted my first video. Simple, me talking to the camera, showing my design process, fabric transforming into something beautiful. I talked about why I loved fashion, how clothing makes you feel powerful. I posted it and went to bed expecting nothing. The next morning, 5,000 views. By the end of the week, 50,000 comments poured in. People loved my aesthetic, my story, that I was doing everything myself from a tiny apartment. I responded to every single comment, made more videos, showed my cramped workspace, my late-night sessions, the mistakes and victories. People connected with the authenticity. Orders started coming. 1 dress, then 2, then 5, then 10. I could barely keep up, but I refused to compromise. Every dress got the same care. Every customer got a handwritten note. My brand was called Myra. It meant admirable in Latin. It was my answer to everyone who said I was less than. 6 months in, I hired my first employee, Jasmine, a talented seamstress who needed work. I couldn't pay much, but I offered her a percentage of profits. Promised that if Myra grew, she'd grow with it. She said yes immediately. Together, we doubled output. 12-hour days, barely talking except about patterns and stitches. But there was purpose in it. My apartment was too small now. I rented a tiny studio in a cheap part of town, not fancy, but it was ours. Myra kept growing, 20,000 followers, 50,000, 100,000. I collaborated with micro-influencers, sent free dresses for posts, most said yes. Then something huge happened. A celebrity wore one of my dresses to brunch, didn't tag me, but someone asked where she got it. She responded with my shop name. My website crashed from traffic. I spent that entire night fulfilling orders. Jasmine came over at 2 in the morning to help. We looked at each other, exhausted and laughing. "This is insane," she said. "This is just the beginning," I replied. By the end of year 1, Myra was a recognized name. I expanded to a larger studio, hired 3 more seamstresses, brought on a social media manager. My designs evolved. Evening wear, casual pieces. Everything had my signature, clean lines, bold colors, perfect construction. I worked 18-hour days. I'd never been happier. I hadn't thought about Daniel in months. Then I got an email. A major fashion showcase wanted to feature Myra. Press would be there, buyers, industry people who could change everything. I accepted immediately. I spent 2 months creating a collection. 7 pieces representing everything Myra stood for: strength, elegance, independence. The night before the event, I barely slept. Checked every detail, every stitch, every hem, everything had to be perfect. At 3 in the morning, I allowed myself one thought about Daniel. I wondered if he'd heard about Myra, if he'd seen my growth, if he ever thought about what he gave up. Then I pushed it away. This wasn't about him anymore. This was about me. The showcase day arrived. Beautiful converted warehouse, exposed brick, dramatic lighting. Models rehearsing while designers adjusted details. I stood backstage, surprisingly calm. Jasmine squeezed my shoulder. "You ready?" "More than ready." My collection was scheduled for 8:30. At 8 I did a final check. Everything was perfect. Then I walked to the edge of backstage, peeked through a gap in the curtain to see the audience. That's when I saw him, Daniel, 5th row, wearing a suit I recognized. Next to him sat a blonde woman I didn't know, polished, perfect. Exactly what his family would approve of. My heart stuttered for just a moment, then I smiled. Of course he was here. His family probably had connections to the organizers. He had no idea Myra was mine. In 30 minutes he'd watch me walk across that stage. I stepped back and took a deep breath. This wasn't revenge, this was truth revealing itself. 8:30, lights dimmed, the announcer's voice filled the space. "Next we have Myra. A brand built on the principle that true elegance comes from authenticity and strength." Music started. My first model walked out in a crimson dress that caught light like liquid fire. The audience murmured appreciation. Second model, Third, each piece told a story. Each piece was part of me poured onto fabric. The sixth model brought louder applause. Then came the finale. The last dress was emerald green, the same color as the dress I'd made for Daniel's gala. The one I never got to wear, but this version was better, evolved. It represented everything I'd learned, everything I'd become. The model owned that runway. As the final notes played, the announcer spoke again. And now please welcome the designer behind Myra Emma Carter. This was it. I stepped out from backstage, lights blinding, applause deafening. I walked down that runway, heart pounding but steps steady. I reached center stage and stopped. That's when I saw him clearly. Daniel's face was frozen in complete shock. His mouth hung slightly open, eyes wide with recognition and disbelief. The woman next to him leaned over to whisper something. He didn't respond, just stared at me. I didn't look away. For 3 full seconds we locked eyes across that crowd. I saw everything in his expression: surprise, confusion, regret, and something else. Loss. Then I turned my attention to the rest of the audience, smiled and raised my hand in acknowledgement. Cameras flashed everywhere. Reporters scribbled notes. People stood up. I had done it. Myra wasn't just a brand anymore, it was a statement. Backstage after, I was swarmed. Journalists wanted interviews. Buyers wanted orders. Other designers congratulated me. One reporter asked, "What inspired Myra? Where does this come from?" I thought carefully. Myra comes from personal transformation. It's about what happens when you decide to believe in yourself even when others don't.